I got a notice here from Jim Standard on Salt Spring that he's got to go in about 10 minutes. So, Jim, do you just want to run through what you were going to say about the Salt Spring Island road trip?
Unmute.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I'm hoping that any or all of you can come over and drive around on Salt Spring. Just a fun kind of road trip down our crazy roads that we have here, ending up at the Fernwood Cafe, which is a really nice place, open air, out on the lawn kind of thing. It should be just kind of a neat experience, a little bit different from something you would have on Vancouver Island, although we are a little bit rural in both our areas for sure. So this is on September 11th. The idea is you can come over on any ferry you want to. If you want to visit some other things, there's lots of, cheese farms and farm stands and things like that. And the goal is to somehow wind up to Fernwood Cafe about 11 o'clock and have a normal coffee meeting like you would have wherever you go over there. I think the Sunton Mall or something like that. And so I've set up some instructions whether you're coming across on the Crofton Ferry, that might be the Mid-Island folks, or if you're coming in through the Fulford Ferry. And the idea is just to have fun, right? It's sort of a road rally type instructions, so they kind of work until you deviate off the path, and then you're going to have to make some adjustments. But GPS is working good, and if you got a Tesla, the instructions are just full screen on your Tesla. That makes it super easy. So, yeah, welcome. Hope you can come over and enjoy some fun times here, and I'll be there to see you up at the Fernwood Cafe. I might join the drive. I'm not sure now. It's just sort of, I've done it a couple of times already, actually, just to make sure it works. So anyways, any questions from anybody?
I think the only question is for me, that you mentioned something in an email this week about wanting to get an idea of how many people are coming.
Mm-hmm. I just wanted to give a heads up to the Fernwood Cafe folks. They're used to having a pretty busy number of people, like a fair number of people there anyway.
Okay.
I think at 11 o'clock on Saturday, it might be kind of a slow time for them, I'm hoping. So that you guys can come in before, it's sort of the lunchtime when maybe some more people show up. So I see some nice faces here. Who's thinking about coming? Okay.
Randy, will Randy Backman be there?
I think he moved to Toronto. He heard you were coming. But maybe Robert Bateman can do somebody's portrait or something like that.
Cool. Okay. I think the only safe thing we could tell them right at the moment is it'll be busier than there usually are at 11, but I don't know. Maybe as we get closer, maybe next week we can take a poll and find out who's going.
For sure.
Fact, there's a poll thing coming out tonight, so I'll add that to the list.
Sounds really good, Jim. Really appreciate that. I know that the ferries have been extremely busy in the summer, but as we come into September, things actually start to slow down a bit, and so it's easier to get a ferry. If you're there early, you get to talk to all the electric car guys about electric car stuff while you're waiting for the ferry to show up. We're used to ferries. It's just part of our life, and it's not a big deal. A lot of people from off island, they think it's terrible, but it keeps the criminals away and stuff like that. So we love them.
Yeah, we love our moat as well.
Right, for sure. Nice to see you, Glenn. So if there isn't anything else, I guess maybe I should go look after my guests.
Okay. Might be a good idea.
Or not.
Or invite them in. It's going to be an interesting meeting.
Yeah, I don't know. One wants to buy a hybrid, which means I have a challenging night ahead of me. So anyways, talk to you later, guys. Nice to see everybody.
See you, Jim.
Yeah.
Great. Glenn, it's hard for me to do this technical stuff and interview at the same time. Can you talk to Steve?
I'd love to talk to Steve.
Okay.
Steve?
How are you? Who's in the top right corner of my screen. I don't know where he is on yours. But Steve's got a really amazing special story to tell. So I think we should get to that as soon as we can. Glenn, you want to take it away?
Well, no, I think anybody who's paying attention, electric vehicles in Canada, saw this note pop up about a week ago saying, hey, there's an electric bus that's going to go from Kamloops to Vancouver. And they've got the Guinness Book of World Records to be on board to sign it off as a record. And we went, wow, that's really cool. So yeah, Steve, we'd love to hear about your company, because I know you're just getting your feet wet in EVs right now. Hear about your company, what made you decide to go down the EV direction, and then we can get on to the world record run and all about the bus.
Traxx Coachlines' parent company is Monarch. Traxx owns, I want to say 5 different companies. In total, there are 240 coaches in the fleet. We own Quick Shuttle, which is where we're trying to implement this electric vehicle. Quick Shuttle is let's say a fixed station, so it goes from Seattle to Tacoma Airport to Vancouver with a couple other stops along the way. So it's not a charter service, but it's a by request service. I'm not sure what else to tell you because I'm pretty stoked about what we did.
Oh yeah, I mean you're probably painfully aware of what it costs to run diesel motor coaches, and the best thing going until we have something better. And that must have was that part of your desire to look into a BEV bus?
Well, we've been looking to try and blaze a new trail. We are in an area. I'm in Kamloops, but in Kelowna, and Thompson Okanagan Tourism Association is a biosustainable tourism association, and
right.
We wanted to really be at the forefront of this technology. So we decided we'd take a leap and take a chance on a bus.
So we could maybe do a wine tour on an electric bus here soon and not have the diesel exhaust spoiling our palate?
It's quite possible.
Hey, let's get on that. I'd go.
We'd have to do it within reason because our within a certain distance, simply because the charge level and there is no charging capabilities for us, and yet we're, well, sorry, until we're in a location where they have a special charger for this machine.
Oh, okay. Well, why don't we talk a bit about the run into Vancouver, and then we can talk about the specific bus itself.
All right. So we used an MCI. The value of the bus is $1.3 million. Average cost of a normal coach is about $550,000. So it takes a long time to recoup that savings.
But you're saying that you probably will, obviously, or else you wouldn't have done the jump.
We will do it. What we're trying to do now is start to lobby some government programs or some government people to start implementing some programs to make these a lot more accessible. I know that the city of Vancouver is on board with helping us trying to put in a charging station right down by the cruise ship terminals.
Right.
That would make it easier to have a pickup point. However, I'll tell you about the trip.
Okay.
So the driver had to go on special training. Most of the training was specific to taking the bus uphill, because he obviously, like a diesel, he would normally just pin it, but he can't. So it has to be a controlled incline just to conserve battery. We had anticipated being at 0% battery life at the end of the run, but the driver did such a smooth job. We had 150 kilometers left to go.
When you hit the top of the pass.
Oh, when we got to destination.
Oh, wow.
We did quite well.
Is there a cruise control on the bus?
There's not.
Oh, that'd be handy.
Quite possible.
Yeah, machines are much better than humans at keeping a steady speed.
Well, actually, we had a very good driver.
Yeah.
Bruce or Steve, what kind of charge system and battery have you got in the bus?
Honestly, I don't know what it is. All I know is they cannot connect to a Tesla charge, but they're working on a port for that.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you know what the connector looks like, or do you have a photo of it?
I do not.
Okay.
I just have stats on the travel.
Right. Okay. Okay. Why don't you tell us about the travel?
So essentially, like I said, we had to have a very controlled environment, and we had to make sure that we controlled it all the way. And we had engineers in Winnipeg monitor this every step of the way, told us where we were at. We knew where the battery level was, but
Right.
we still had to do it by topography as well, because we had two large inclines.
Right.
That was I won't say it was stressful, but we were holding on tight. It was great when we started going downhill just before the snow shed after the toll booths, or the old toll booths.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It has a max recharge capability. So it's not like the faster you go down the hill, the quicker it charges or the more it charges. Once it hits a certain level, that's it. So we still had to do a controlled decline as well. But I tell you, the bus rode smooth and it was extremely quiet.
Yeah.
Still had some road noise. The next day we did a tour. We did 3 tours around Vancouver. They were an hour and a half each, 48 kilometers, I believe, but still city tours with approximately 18 to 20 people on each tour. So we had to factor in the weight. But at the end of the run, we still had we used 48% of the battery. So we had 52% of the battery left.
Right.
So we were extremely pleased with that outcome. On, I think it's the 13th, on the 14th, I think we're going to try a run from Vancouver to Kelowna on the big hill.
Ooh.
Yeah, that'll be the really interesting one, won't it?
It'll be a challenge.
Yeah. I'm seeing that the MCI bus can charge at a rate up to 150 kilowatts per hour. Although I can't see what the connector is, and I'm gonna take a jump at it. It's probably a combined charge, CCS combined charge system.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that'll be awesome.
We're looking forward to it.
Is there nobody in Vancouver who already is charging electric buses? Because they've been doing transit. BC Transit's been running some tests there. And I know Wilson's here on the island has been doing the same.
I think those buses are stripped down and they're a little bit smaller.
Oh, okay.
This bus, the battery is 5,000 pounds. We have 7 batteries.
Right.
Wow.
Ron, you're going to say something?
Yes, but I think Bruce probably has the answer. There, a couple of years ago, we had, and I cannot remember who he is. That's my old memory. Local bus company here, Scott. Yeah. What's Scott's last name, Bruce?
Well, I don't dye my hair gray.
Okay. Anyhow, he does tours show around the city and that kind of thing. So he's had electric buses for the past 2 or 3 years now, running them, doing local tours and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he actually bought a bus from Handy Dart and had an electric motor put in it by Murray.
Scott Murray, yes.
Greg Murray on Vancouver Island did the conversion for him.
Do you need some ballast going from Vancouver to Kamloops? Because, we could probably get some guys out of Viva.
We might be able to do that, and I might follow up.
Well, here you go. Talk to Bruce or Ron here. They'll ballast if they're not going to be the ballast themselves. Yeah, no, Yeah,
Yeah,
that-
we'd volunteer as ballast, or I'd even volunteer to run a Tesla behind it just in case there were some challenges that you had. So
Well, you know, the irony is we actually had a Tesla follow us. That was part of the whole program, was we wanted it totally electric. And so our all the video coverage beside it was a Tesla.
whose car was it?
There is Tesla out of Calgary that's a rental organization,
Okay, yeah,
and they did a deal with us that we would share the coverage.
yeah. There's another guy that's worth knowing about, Kent Rathwell, Sun Country Highway. He drove a Tesla Roadster across Canada in 2012 and sponsored a rally across Canada called the E-Mazing Race in 2014 and 2015. And Kent Rathwell, Sun Country Highway.
All right.
He'd be worth knowing too.
yeah.
So yeah, just let us know when you're doing this. 14th of September.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the plan anyway. We're just waiting for it to come back.
Okay, Steve. Jim's got my details. He's got my email address.
Mhm.
Jim will give you my email address, and we can get Ron's email address if he's interested too. I'm a retired individual, so you know, I'll have voted at 10, 11, 12, 13 is the advanced poll, so I'll be voting on the 10th. And I'd love a ride to Kamloops in your bus, sure.
We're going to Kelowna, so it's even longer.
Oh, Kelowna's no problem. I got brother-in-law in Kelowna.
The only difference is we don't come back.
If you talk nice, Ron will follow along in a Tesla and pick you up. I was looking around what Canada's sort of EV landscape right now. We've got made in Canada. We have Lion doing Class 8 vehicles. They're doing a lot of school buses and garbage trucks and stuff like that, and a little bit of drayage for some bigger companies. But I think MCI might be the first in Canada that's actually doing a motor coach.
Yep.
As an EV.
They are. I know that Prevost had taken it to China and pulled out of China.
Wow. But there's also a ton of competition in China.
There is.
Yeah. Unless it's something pretty special, they'd rather have their homeboys do that.
Military technology that they didn't want to have escape.
Right. So the data you have, is it good enough? Guinness Book of World Records happy to take it on and certify?
Prevost acknowledged it this morning that it's on LinkedIn that they have said that they have made it a world record. We still have to submit all of the video coverage to prove we've done it. And a lot of it has to do with the single charge and then the elevation.
Right.
There is one bus that's been completely stripped down that I think got quite a few kilometers on it on a flat road.
If you're going back along the Coquihalla, is your climb higher on that route?
It is.
Do you know by how much?
You know what? I don't know, but I think it's higher than Rogers Pass. And I
Right.
only know this because I had made a bet with somebody about, they said Rogers Pass was the highest. And I said, no, the connector is much higher.
Yeah. What's your passenger load or passenger cargo weight that you can carry? You know?
Well, we can carry 56 passengers. The whole intention is to have it run as much as just as it would a diesel vehicle. The only issue is the size of the batteries take up storage compartments.
Oh,
So we lose half the storage.
I'm waiting for the first celebrity, when they do these those Gucci tour buses and stuff. I'm waiting for the first celebrity to go buy one of those and tart it all up.
So am I. I'd like to be a part of that.
Yeah. Is there any question you'd like us to ask you, or
I would like to ask a question of Steve. I missed the name of that bus. What bus is it? Who made it?
It's an MCI, so Motor Coach Industries in Winnipeg.
Oh, it's Canadian.
It is a Canadian-made product.
Yes, great.
The Canadian technology as well, and I think it's a J4500.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you. It was taxing for us because we wanted to have a lot larger play. We wanted to have more, we'll call it influential people on board, but the new restrictions from the provincial government 3 days before threw a big wrench into that.
Well, that's awesome, Steve. Really great for you to come along and talk to us tonight. Do keep in touch. You know where we're at. You can pop on and because we've done some research and reporting on getting EVs into heavier and heavier vehicles, and done some work on what the impacts are both environmentally and financially for the owner.
Sorry, we don't have the data yet, but MCI is supposed to be giving us some data in the next couple of days to tell us the difference and the savings between what diesel would have cost on the run and what the electricity will cost based on our per kilowatt cost.
Well, what you should do is you should run one of your own diesels with the same load along with it.
Right now, the diesel might beat it.
Well, no, it'll probably beat it. But what I'm saying is that you compare the costs, on the trip back as well.
We have, so every vehicle now is mandated by law, by the Canadian Transportation Board, I think, where we have to have digital logs. So everything is logged anyway.
Okay.
Cool. So our curiosity is what MCI comes back with in terms of the cost, because they've done a cost per day. So with those tours going back at 50% and or 52%, and then that day heading into Vancouver. Because like I said, we still had 150 kilometers left to go,
Right.
which was amazing.
So where is it charging in Vancouver right now?
We charged in Delta at our Delta facility.
You're going to go up the Coquihalla to Merritt, and from Merritt across the 97 connector to Kelowna. Is that your route?
Yes.
Yeah, that won't be a problem. So
It'll be a
I have three seats going back.
No, we're going Highway 5.
Highway 5? Yep.
We're taking the high one.
Yep.
We need to push the envelope here because that's the direct connect.
It's really great to hear that you guys are doing this bus, because I think this is brilliant.
Yep.
We are pretty stoked about it. It's it really is. Its time has come. I think some of our job ahead of us is lobbying government, not only for subsidies to get a reduced cost on these things, but also to make sure that we've got charging stations available.
Yeah, there's a bus company out of California that's selling buses, and they've got rebates out of the California state government. And what they've been doing what they've been doing with that is talking to communities. And somebody did a study of what it would cost for a diesel bus. And with the California state government rebates, plus the rebates for a quote unquote disadvantaged community, they were able to get a bus that was powered by electricity cheaper than they could buy a diesel bus.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
that's just some of the things that are out there. And you're doing the right thing. If you don't ask, they can't say yes.
Exactly.
And the premier of the province of British Columbia has just encouraged another natural gas facility. So it'd be a good news story for him to start spending money on electric buses.
Yep.
No doubt. So that's our job now. Lobby, lobby, lobby.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thanks, Steve. That's great.
Guys, thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, Steve. So the only thing that we've got left on the agenda is you were going to do a little report about election platforms.
Okay. I will do that now then.
Okay.
Okay. How's that?
Yep.
Okay. So this will not be very long, and you're going to see why. All this information is up to date as of yesterday. And I've covered off the parties that you can vote for in British Columbia. Now, so People's Party of Canada, I'm going to go straight to the remarks. They refute anthropomorphic global warming. So doing anything for green tech, renewables, or electric vehicles is antithetical to their view of the world, frankly. So not a surprise that there are no incentives, no infrastructure comment, no support to green tech, no ZEV mandate. So not a huge surprise. I was very surprised to see our federal Greens do not yet have a platform that you can look at. They've said many great things in previous elections, but we have no idea what's happening on this election. A lot of that probably has to do with the recent blood on the floor in the internal party politics, which is really pretty sad, considering this election has been, basically telegraphed since last November. So I can't say definitively what the Greens are proposing. New Democratic Party, when it comes to incentives, they're talking about removing the federal sales tax on EVs and extending incentives for qualifying Canadians up to $15,000 on Canadian-built electric vehicles. They make positive sound about infrastructure, and they support Canadian jobs in green tech for the industry. They haven't said anything specific about the ZEV mandate, but they are supportive of the current policy or current statements by the governing Liberals of 100% light-duty vehicles by 2035. They have said that in their policy statements for green and renewable, that they include support for hydrogen in transportation. Deep sigh. Conservative Party of Canada, again, this is another platform that's kind of hard to dig into, but they don't actually talk about incentives in the platform. Infrastructure, they are supportive of zero-emission vehicles, supporting made in Canada electric vehicles. They've proposed 30% light-duty vehicles by 2030. Haven't made any statements about medium-duty or heavy-duty vehicles. And they, again, include support for hydrogen in transportation. Liberal Party of Canada, they're still carrying on with their $5,000 incentives for light-duty vehicles. They have programs going for urban level 2 and DCFC, and they're looking to have more work with partnering for medium-duty, heavy-duty vehicle DCFCs infrastructure around the country. They're partnering with Ontario, Manitoba, Alberta, and BC on battery materials and mining and trying to get that part of the industry going for Canadian production. We've heard them over the last few years make many statements about support for a mandate. However, they've never actually put the mandate into legislation as Quebec and British Columbia have. Their current statement is 50% light-duty vehicles by 2030 and 100% by 2035. Again, they've not said much about medium-duty and heavy-duty vehicles. And they include support for hydrogen transportation as well. That's the short and sweet of it. Not a lot else to say. If we do another one of these before the actual election, I'll update with whatever information we have at that time period. A lot of the parties are saying positive things. They've seen environmental and sustainability issues rise in the Canadian populace when they're doing their polling, so they know it's important. If it's important to you and somebody actually comes to your doorstep, hit them hard, give them good questions, and tell them it matters to you if it does. Any questions from me?
Glenn, outside of GM, is anybody manufacturing EVs in Canada?
Well, I think that, well, whatever they're called this week, Stellantis, formerly Dodge, Fiat, Chrysler, wherever they are, they still have a footprint in Canada. So they are still making noises, but I haven't heard that they're actually going to build anything here. Ford's footprint is still in the States and in Mexico. I don't believe they make anything electric here in Canada. And I think Ford's batteries are from LG as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Can I blow my own horn here?
Oh,
Can we stop you?
The NDP candidate for our riding just came and knocked on the door. Well, I was listening to the previous caller, so I didn't get told by my wife that he was there to say hi to him. And I said, well, that's okay, because I helped him buy a Kia Soul electric vehicle, which he's now driving. So for the last month, he's been driving an electric Kia Soul with a 40 kilowatt hour battery, much like the car that Eric has there, I think, in the picture. And he's in love with the car. So at least we've got one possibility for a somebody to get elected who understands what electric cars are all about in our riding.
there we go.
Just patting myself on the back for that.
Is your riding NDP already? Bruce?
The incumbent that was elected in 2015 is a Liberal, and this is the riding is North Vancouver, Burnaby North Shore, or Burnaby Seymour. Oh, this
Right.
is just somebody wanting me to do a survey of who I'm going to vote for. Probably that's why my phone's ringing. It has several times tonight. Anyway, it's a Liberal incumbent in my riding, so we're hoping to retire that individual and make sure that the federal government is a minority of some description. So maybe we can get some more of these electric vehicle things happening.
Yeah, I think history shows Canada is best served by minority governments. So they have to actually pay attention to the other people in Parliament as opposed to doing exactly what they want. My personal opinion, this does not count as policy statement by Vicky VA. I do wonder is Ballard and Jagmeet Singh's riding?
Yep. Yes.
Oh, that explains something. Ron?
Yeah. Did any of the parties talk about subsidies for the fossil fuel industry? Because last year we gave $18 billion to the fossil fuel industry. At the same time, we're trying to reduce greenhouse gases. So I don't know, did you ask them about that, or did they any of them comment on that?
The NDP have commented on that that needs to stop. But I will remind everybody here that the Liberals said that at the last two elections as well.
Yeah, at my end, you cut out a bit. So the NDP said what?
Yeah, that they are in favor of getting rid of subsidies to oil and gas.
Okay, the Liberals have said that as well before, but have done nothing about it.
So,
okay, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to get a full environmental review of Kinder Morgan Trans Mountain pipeline too. Anyway, sorry. This
okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to stick on EVs and not be. I really am trying, honestly.
By the way, that call I just received was indeed campaign support, whoever the heck they are. So they're out busy trying to get people to vote.
Yeah, I'm answering my phone these days when it's a survey, and I am being opinionated.
Excellent. I think that's probably a good idea. My only problem is that once I answer one of those phone calls, I go in their list.
Yeah.
And we were getting 2 and 3 calls a day about my breast enhancements and all the rest of this crap. So I don't bother to answer the phone anymore.
My only spam calls lately have been threatening to take me to jail because of a parcel through through the mail.
Oh, you must be getting my drugs then.
Yeah, but you guys have charged it to my Visa card according to the spam mails that I've been getting.
Well, they're expensive, Ron.
Well, I know.
Anything more on EV policies and stuff? Like I said, not that there was anything from two of the parties.
Thank you very much for taking the time to contact these people and trying to figure out where they are. The one thing that's obvious to me is the hydrogen lobby has been working extremely hard in Canada. They've convinced the NDP, the Conservatives, and the Liberal Party to support their platform. And the other nice thing to see is that the other three parties have adopted a lot of what used to be called Green Party policies in terms with zero emission vehicles. So I think maybe the Green Party is going to become a footnote in history after this election.
Well, it could be the reason they don't have a platform is because the other guys all stole it.
Yeah. The hydrogen, of course, comes in waves over the decades. And this current uptick is mainly driven by the pollution industry that recognizes that this is the last sort of cow they can milk. And it's got a huge amount of pull in the European Union. So the European Union is talking a lot about hydrogen right now, but they're saying green hydrogen. But it appears like a lot of people have done the math, but it appears that they won't tell that to the politicians to say, if every renewable source of electricity that we have planned for the next 30 years comes online, we still won't make enough green hydrogen to do everything they think they need to do. The good news is once you stop producing petroleum products, a third of the demand for hydrogen falls off the wall, just falls off immediately. Another third falls off if you stop using hydrogen in production of fertilizers. So if you've got money in hydrogen, it's a bad idea. It's not going to be growing.
There's another interesting statistic that I haven't been able to verify, but somebody said to me, once upon a time, one of the fossil fuel companies did a report about the amount of electricity the refinery uses to refine oil into burnable things like gasoline and other products. And it was a huge number of the amount of electricity they used. And apparently it was only on the internet for a very brief period of time. And then somebody realized that that isn't the kind of number they want out there. So
Yeah,
has anybody found this information anywhere?
We have it.
Originally, I think it was 6 kilowatts.
Yeah, it's somewhere on our website, Bruce. I'll see if I can find it and send it to you. It was actually a study that came out of England for the UK. And after they got a little bit of pushback of how much electricity they were using, they stopped doing the survey.
Right.
And issuing the information because they realized it was working at cross purposes for them.
Yeah. The ballpark is 6 kilowatts for every gallon.
Yeah, something like that.
Wow.
So 1.5 kilowatts per liter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 5 liters would drive a Toyota Prius 100 kilometers.
Right.
Right? And 1.5 kilowatts is a liter?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're talking about 7.5 kilowatts to refine the product?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Anything else, Glenn?
Yeah, but I can't remember what it is now.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm kind of disappointed on the lack of statements on an election that had so much lead on it.
And it was so
this
necessary.
the parties were saying, hey, we really don't want to go to an election right now, even though the NDP had gone to did their policy couple back in March, the same time the Liberals did.
Okay. You want to unshare your screen?
Yes, sir.
Thank
Here
you.
we go.
We can get on to other stuff. Anybody else got anything they want to contribute?
And Dave Sandelin has just set up his video. He's moving his head back and forth in front of some kind of white car. What's that behind you there, Dave?
That's the 2022 Kona that somebody had put on the website before they were allowed to sell it. They had them all parked because Hyundai Canada hadn't released the pricing on them. So they sat on the lots for, I think, 6 weeks before they finally got pricing from Hyundai Canada. And I guess a lot of it had to do with the fact the Chevy Bolts had dropped their price. There was rumor Nissan was dropping its price for the 22, so they had to come up with a pricing scheme to make it a little bit more competitive. And I think they dropped theirs around 4,000 from the 21 pricing.
Which is really interesting because of the fact with the battery challenge that the Chevrolet Bolt electric vehicle has got right now. I think most of the GM dealers have got a stop sale order on all of the product, with the exception of the 2021s. At least
No,
everything.
actually, every one they've built to date, and the ones that are sitting on the lots waiting for sale,
Yep.
are it's a stop sale and everything because
Wow.
every battery is going to be recalled.
Wow.
Very curious to see what Hyundai is going to do since the Kona has the same LG batteries. Now Hyundai came out of the gates early to say we're going to replace all the defective batteries, but I'm very interested to see what they're going to say now. Are they going to put those cars up for sale, or are they they're concerned about the batteries or not? And that's something I've been waiting to hear about, and I haven't heard anything.
So that could have explained the stop sale, or the excuse they were using is they didn't have pricing, and they maybe didn't have pricing because they didn't have batteries that they were comfortable with in those cars.
That would be reasonable speculation on my part.
Yeah, and it's a lot better to say we are having trouble figuring out what pricing we're going to sell rather than say we're having trouble deciding whether or not we're going to sell cars with defective batteries.
Yeah. I'm wondering, how do these use LG batteries? Because I know
It's just Hyundai and GM.
no, I think it's more.
Ford has them too, don't they?
That's what I was thinking. LG sells batteries to Audi, Ford, GM, Porsche, Volkswagen, as well as other automotive brands. Wow.
Yeah,
So that's-
LG have got their hands in a lot of it. The European Konas are built with SK out of their, I think it's Czechoslovakia plant, so none of those are affected.
Right.
But the North American ones are all from South Korea, LG can.
And just to make sure, or just to include Tesla in this, LG also does some 2170 cells for Tesla that you put into their cars in China.
I thought it was Cattle that was doing their battery packs in China, because that was part of the agreement for the Chinese government not to have another manufacturer involved with Tesla. Every manufacturer in China has to team up with some Chinese partner, whether it's GM or Ford or Volvo, whoever. And that was Tesla's way of getting around it, was getting their batteries from Cattle, which is a Chinese producer. And now I think they're going to be sending some of those battery packs to the US because they have a different chemistry.
Yeah.
So they're a little less dense, but supposedly they can charge much more.
Lithium iron phosphate, LFP.
LFP, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, and they've been sending out emails to people. Your Tesla Model 3 Range Plus will be available in January. However, if you're willing to accept a CAT all battery or lithium iron phosphate battery, you could have a car in September.
Here's something interesting. General Motors is talking about its Ultium cells, and it has a battery partner for it. And guess who that is?
I was going to guess LG Chem.
Exactly. Wow. This is even bigger. Holy chips. Ouch.
Well, maybe there's something to be said for that little California startup that built a factory in Sparks, Nevada to build batteries with the Panasonic Corporation. And maybe there's something to be said for their format of those batteries, which are a spiral round battery, 18 by 65, 27 by 100, and now 46 by 80.
Oh, yeah.
The pouch cells was supposed to be a much more stable cell because you could puncture it without the thermal runaway happening. And there's obviously something else going on that they're not necessarily telling us. Yes, there's the anode issue and the bent tab, but supposedly the Ford LG packs are slightly different.
Yeah, I'm going to
ones that they
correct
use in
myself
bulk.
there. I'm going to correct myself. Ford is using SK batteries.
Yeah, and there's a big lawsuit between LG and SK over stolen technology, and so it'll be interesting to see how that works its way out.
Well, I think it's worked out. SK has to pay $700 million or something, I think, over a number of years, which will be fine because everybody's going to be making money hand over fist as soon as they get their production up. But so yeah, okay. So Ford's okay. They're not getting batteries from LG at this moment. So
now, where are those batteries actually produced? Because the cars are manufactured in Mexico, right?
The car is built and yeah, that's correct. And let's see now.
Where the ID4s are coming out of Germany, and they're supposed to have the LG packs in them.
Right. It's coming in here. North America.
Anyway, guys, I've got to head off. I got to go pick up a car. I'll talk to you later. Thanks.
Okay, take care.
Take care.
I guess David would be the one to know how many Konas had fires compared to the numbers of them versus the Bolt.
That's a good question.
Because when the Bolt had fires in their cars that were supplied from different plants, although the same manufacturer, is the machinery in China as bad as the stuff in the U.S.? Or is Chevrolet designing something into their charging or their inverter that causes the fire?
Yeah, and the fires that they had in the United States, maybe the big difference might be that the fires that they had in Asia probably weren't in private homes with garages, where the fires they had in the United States, somebody had an in-the-house garage when the car caught fire. Because I've seen pictures of fires in Asia where it was a charging station where the guy was pulled into, but that's where the car caught fire.
Yeah.
Whereas the U.S. fire was somebody's actual house that got burned.
Yeah, I think there was one or two in-house fires. The rest were out in the yard or at the charging station.
Yeah, LG, I'll go back a bit. LG produces in Korea and in the U.S. for GM. SKI is built for Ford in Georgia so far. I'm not sure if they've done another joint venture, so I'm not sure if that'll be in Georgia or some other EV tax compliant state. So that's all very interesting. The Kona fires, the one that caught our eye here in Canada might be like 2 years ago, was that one in Montreal. And most of us just assumed it was somebody involved with the Hells Angels. So it turns out it was something else. So yeah, I think there's been more fires with the Chevy Bolt than there have been with the Kona.
And proportionally, I think there's a lot more Konas around than there is Bolts, isn't there?
Good. You know, somebody needs to do a freedom of information request with ICBC and get a listing of the number of each one of these cars that are out there. That'd be
Well,
really useful information,
I'm
how many
still
electric
parking,
cars are out there.
I'm still parking our Bolt outside the door. I almost traded in for 22. I didn't. I canceled the deal. And of course, we're waiting for the new battery. I don't know how long we're going to have to wait. Maybe 6 months, maybe a year. I don't have no clue. But basically, we'll have a new car once we get the battery, which is going to be a good deal.
Yeah, you're going to get an 8-year, 160,000 kilometer warranty. The battery is going to be 106% of your existing battery. What's not to like about that?
Yeah, we're
And it
quite
won't-
thrilled about it. But how long do
Yeah.
we have to wait? That's the question.
Well, it all depends on how many cars are out there and how long it's going to take them to put these batteries together. I
And-
would
and
say
the-
your estimation of 6 months to a year is probably pretty accurate.
Yes.
So
The other thing is then you'll still end up owning a car that made by a company who tried to bury the problem with software instead of fixing it.
Well, it was so obvious that software was just, to produce a range that was so unacceptable.
Well, to be fair, Tesla also did the same thing for about 3 years of Model S's when they looked at how the batteries were going, and not because they were catching fire, but they did decide to say, yeah, you can only use 90% of your battery. And it was said it was for longevity of battery. And 16,000 owners took them to court in Norway and got an award for it. But that wasn't for them burning up, but maybe they saw, hey, these will be safer if we only charge them 90%.
Which would have been fine if they'd have done that from the beginning.
Well, they told them why they were doing it, unlike Chevy. Anyway, so the quick answer for Kona's, as of June 2020, they'd produced about 100,000, and the recall on the Chevy Bolt right now is for 140,000.
Yeah, and how many of each caught on fire? It hasn't been a lot. There's like a dozen Chevs or something.
The interesting situation, of course, is that yesterday the Ninth Street Bridge in Vancouver was down to one lane because the truck caught on fire at the south end of the bridge.
Must have been an electric one then, eh?
Well, the only reason we heard about this truck catching fire was because we heard it on the traffic station. And then a little while ago, there was a car on the highway that caught fire. And the only time you hear about these car fires of fossil fuel vehicles is if they block traffic and you're listening to the traffic station. But somebody was talking about the several 100,000 cars that burned in North America per last year. And then, that's obviously more than one fire a day. And you don't hear a lot of news about that.
So let me, I just got some quick numbers here. As of February, there had been 15 Kona fires globally. Globally. So that, I guess, percentage-wise, that could be at the same as or a little less than Chevy Bolts. The internet is a wonderful thing. You can find out almost anything, and sometimes it's true.
Mm-hmm.
You have to spend more time to figure out the truth, though. That's
right.